What is up, guys? This is VoyageTreader08, and today I'm going to talk about my scariest moments in gaming. Um, and these are moments that terrified me as a kid, and honestly, they still scare me to this day. And a lot of these games came from the N64, believe it or not. Um, I, just for fun, I'm not going to include any survival horror games. I mean, moments in like normal friendly games like Star Wars Shadows of the Empire, um, Banjo-Kazooie or Donkey Kong 64, games like that, that aren't really supposed to be horror games, but there's parts in those games that still, really creeped me out when I was a kid. Um, but the first one I'm going to talk about is the giant Dianoga boss from Star Wars Shadows of the Empire. And you can encounter this boss when you progress through the sewers, and at the very end, you'll enter this room, the door will shut behind you, and like the whole place will fill up with water. And you have the jetpack, so you can kinda, float around in the water with the jetpack. But then these giant tentacles sprout up, these huge tentacles from the darkness, you know, of the sewer water below, and they just come up, and it scared me to death. And I was wondering, how are you supposed to kill this thing? Because just shooting the tentacles would just, wouldn't do a thing because more would just pop up. And so I went down to the bottom, and at the very bottom, there's this huge pod with a mouth with jagged teeth coming out of it. And I mean, it's hard to really say why this scared me. It just how huge it was, not to mention it was underwater, and I have a huge fear of monsters, like in games that you encounter like in like underwater, and it's hard to see them and all that because it's deep underwater, and um, it just really frightened me, and I mean, honestly, it's just a very scary boss. But you encounter little Dianogas, before you get to the final boss, but that really scared me. Um, but anyway, yeah, and then Donkey Kong 64, Creepy Castle, that whole level right there creeped me out. No pun intended. Um, just the overall music by Grant Kirkhope was really unsettling, and it wasn't until you got into the crypt that it started to get really creepy because you could hear like moaning and the music and all that. And it just yeah. And like in certain parts in the game, you just felt like you were being watched. I don't know. That creeped me out. And then Banjo-Kazooie, uh, in Banjo-Kazooie, Mad Monster Mansion sort of creeped me out too. Not as much as Creepy Castle, but it still creeped me out to an extent. Um, it was sort of creepy. And then there was what was the name? Oh, Glover. Glover. Now this really isn't per se the atmosphere. It's more of what a loud noise that happens in this game. And if you don't know what Glover is, I'm not going to go into full detail because I'd be, derailing the whole topic here of scariest moments. But if you don't have it, buy it. It came out for the N64 and the PlayStation. It's very underrated. But anyway, there's a section at the very beginning of the game. You're wandering around outside, outside this castle, and like it's all destroyed. The sky is red, everything's foggy and misty, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, periodically, if you wander around long enough, you'll hear this loud, ear-piercing laugh, and it's supposed to come from the main villain, Cross Stitch, and it is just, oh my, it's so terrifying. That I mean, honestly, I was so afraid. I mean, when I was a kid, when I first heard that. I would just like run to like the world I was supposed to go to just to get away from it. It was so scary. Now it goes away, after you take so many crystals back to the castle. But oh my. And Crossstitch as a whole was a scary villain too because he had his mouth all stitched up, and he had these red glowing eyes and he was all black and stuff. Um, and then of course there's Luigi's Mansion. That whole game to me is downright spooky. Even for a Nintendo game, I kind of consider it to be the scariest Nintendo game ever made. And I really don't think it was Nintendo's. It was their, uh, it wasn't really their idea to make it like that. It wasn't their intention rather. But yeah, I mean, it just felt like you were being watched, and the music when you go outside the mansion is just so sad, like something happened there long ago. And if on the balcony part, if you look out at the woods, the woods are so dark and mysterious, and combined with the music and the dark, mysterious woods, it just feels you get the feeling that there's something purely, deeply evil and waiting in the woods to kill you or do something to you, like waiting in the woods, something evil, something unimaginable, some unimaginable horror. And I don't know, maybe it's just me being weird, but I just thought that was very creepy, very scary for me. Um, and if you watch the beta trailer for the game, it's pretty scary too, especially at the beginning where Luigi lets out that loud scream, and then at the very end it shows Luigi like looking like a zombie, I guess you could say, and it was real. My, that was creepy. Um, but the overall game is scary. Dark Moon isn't as scary though. It's more cartoonish than the original game. Not to say it's bad, but I kind of prefer the original game because of its creepiness, and all that. I don't really know if Nintendo will ever make a game like that again, spooky like that again, but I hope they do. Um, but anyway, speaking of Mario games, Super Mario 64, Big Boo's Haunt, that whole level was, oh, that was scary. I mean, I remember when I was down there in the section where all the water was at, where the merry-go-round's at, basically, I'm talking about like the tunnel you go through to get to the elevator to go up into the shed, and that leads you back outside. For some reason, I always ran really fast and wouldn't look back because I felt like something was chasing me when there really wasn't, but it was, it really bugged me as a kid. Um, and there was one time, and I swear I heard this, um, right as I went inside Boo's mansion, I heard a creepy, deep laugh, like, or something like that. I don't know. It was not a Boo laugh, though, let me assure you. It was so creepy. I don't know if it was a bug or a glitch, maybe, that altered Boo's laugh, maybe somehow. I don't know, but it scared me. And I went outside, to see if I could hear it again, and after a couple tries, I heard it again. I don't know what caused it, but it just added on to the overall spookiness of the level. Um, let me try and think here of one other level of a game. Um, um, I think that's pretty much it as far as spooky levels go, like spooky moments in games that I've played besides survival horror games. Because I'm not going to include those, like I said before, because they're meant to be scary. I'm talking about the moments that aren't supposed to be scary, but to me they were, you know. Um, but anyway, thanks for listening, guys, and um, it would really help me out if you would like this video, comment, ask me, tell me what your favorite moment, what your scariest moment was when you were a kid when you played a game. Was it Mad Monster Mansion? Was it Creepy Castle? Am I the only one that thought the big Dianoga boss from Star Wars was scary? Let me know. I would love to know. Um, and also subscribe to my channel. I know I don't have many videos up right now, but I promise you I will have more up in the near future. Um, but anyway, thanks guys, and game on.